Hey, Chuck here. Today we have another video of me riding in traffic and talking about riding safety. We're going to hand out a couple more awards for good and bad behavior. I'll talk about why. So let's look at it. Today we've got 4 sections. The first one is about a distracted driver. Then we'll look at a guy who can't seem to pick what lane to drive in and how to deal with that. We look at drivers that are close to you in traffic who want to change lanes. And we have the dreaded person who runs a red light right in front of you in the middle of the intersection. Bad enough that this happens, it's the scariest thing, but it happens in an intersection. It's just a pain. So let's do it. Let's get into traffic. So I'm riding behind these really nice looking cars, these retro convertibles. They have my attention, and they happen to be turning right on the same street that I am, so I'm right behind them. I'm really looking at these cool cars. This guy blows right through the red light, turning right, and I make a very quick stop and turn right as well. Just as I turn, I notice that this lady here is also staring at these cool cars, and not at me. She starts to pull out and finally turns her head to look at me. She hits the brakes as I roll past her. No big deal here, everybody does this sometimes. But the lesson here for me is that anything on the road that's distracting me is probably distracting other drivers as well, and I should be aware of that for my own safety. This guy is driving kind of sluggish, and he's giving me a weird vibe. You can always tell when people aren't really paying attention to their driving. He pulls out into traffic and immediately takes up 2 lanes. I could possibly zip past him here on the right, but he could stare into me and run me off the road, so I just hang back a little until he decides what he's doing. The moment he picks the left lane, I scoot past him quickly on the right, so he's behind me and I don't have to deal with him anymore. People who are driving recklessly fast, I would rather have them in front of me so they can just go and get away from me. But people who are driving sluggish or strangely slow and unpredictable, I'd rather have those people behind me. So I'm riding through town here, and I'm concentrating on keeping a good following distance with the guy in front of me. I still use the age-old 2-second rule. The way that works is, if you don't know it, you wait until the person in front of you is passing something. Then you start to count in seconds. And then when you pass that same thing, it should be at least 2 seconds to have a safe following distance. So I start to notice that I'm in this guy's blind spot. So I increase my speed to get next to him so he can see me. I'm always trying to make myself more visible to cars around me. But then he kind of shoots forward, and I back up to maintain my following distance. Then he turns on his turn signal, and he turns off his turn signal. Then he slows down, then he speeds up. I don't know what this guy's doing. So I just backed off, and eventually he turned on his signal and got in front of me. Now, I create a good 2-second following distance behind him. So these are the kinds of constant micro adjustments that I'm making and paying attention to whenever I'm riding in traffic. And actually, I'm going to give this guy the Thanks for Not Driving Like an Idiot award. He clearly doesn't know quite what he wants to do while he's driving down the road, and that's fine. But he didn't do something stupid. He just took a moment to figure it out, then he signaled and changed lanes. Good job, dude. So here I am at an intersection, waiting to go straight through. The left turn arrow turns green, and everybody starts turning. As it turns yellow and eventually red, everybody is obviously supposed to stop turning. But this guy decides to keep going. Now, we've all done this before. Just quietly being the last car that kind of sneaks through the light that's turning red. And actually, I kind of expect this to happen. But this guy is blatantly running the red light and causing a problem. Running a red light through an intersection is literally the easiest way to cause an accident. So I, and the car to my right, who you can't see in this video, are already moving forward because we have the green light. And when this happened, I actually didn't notice this guy running the light until I started moving forward. So in the video here, I keep moving forward. And as I do, and notice this guy running the red light, he actually slows down. I couldn't figure out why at the time, but I'm literally riding directly at him at this point. So I do a very simple swerve around him, and I keep going. I looked in my rearview mirror, and I saw him and the yellow car stopped in the intersection just staring at each other. They both had to stop so they didn't hit each other. So what we have here is a 3-vehicle accident which almost happened in the middle of the intersection, all because this idiot decided to drive through the red light turning left. Back when I was a traffic reporter, flying over rush hour traffic in a helicopter, I used to see fatal accidents like this all the time that were caused by just this kind of thoughtless behavior. I'm going to give this guy the Crash Test Dummy Award. for being a dummy and trying to crash his car. There's so much to look at when you're riding through an intersection. You just have to be more aware, so you don't get hit by some idiot like this. So thanks for watching another riding safety video. If you have any questions for me or comments about what you've seen, please leave them below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.